A storm threat developing over the next 24 hours, and we're watching for the chance for flooding rains next week. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice, keeping you up to date on what's happening right now. We've got a level 2 risk for severe weather now across Tennessee into the evening hours. That level 1 risk stretches into North Carolina. On top of that, we've got widespread rain moving into the forecast as we go into next week, which could bring 2 to 4, maybe even 5 inches of rain to some places across the south here. And that could lead to some flooding. And that's especially concerning given that we have a lot of temporary bridges across the mountains of western North Carolina following Hurricane Helene. If you're new to this channel and you appreciate the forecast here, please like this video, subscribe to the channel that you're watching from right now, and turn on notifications to receive updates. Anytime severe weather becomes a threat, I'll be sure to keep you posted. So rain, and a lot of it on the way, so we've got a very active pattern setting up. But first things first, we need to talk about this severe weather outlook. The yellow here is a level 2 out of a 5 risk for severe weather. That's across Middle Tennessee, and that does include the chance for tornadoes there in Tennessee. That threat shifts all the way into Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, and then up into portions of Kentucky. Does not translate into western North Carolina, but it's something we'll keep an eye on. As this system moves east, the sun goes down, so the farther east you are, the slightly lower chance that you have for severe weather, but our models are on top of it here as we watch this system move on through. It's aligned with some embedded thunderstorms, maybe even some little supercells trying to develop this afternoon and evening. It's awfully warm and awfully humid out ahead of this front. We got a couple of boundaries. This is kind of a battleground here that's going to be in place really the next 4 days across Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia, northern Alabama, northern Mississippi. Colder air on the north, unusually warm air on the south, and that battleground presents the chance for storms and some downpours at times. So going into the overnight hours here, this line's going to press on through, and it may sink into the mountains here with some feisty storms, maybe some gusty winds, and certainly the chance for some thunder and lightning. And that pushes on to the south, and here we go into our Friday with, again, that front trying to come back alive as maybe a hybrid warm front, something like that, as these boundaries are just kind of left over. There's not much to them until we get a stronger front to cross through the area, which looks to happen sometime on Sunday. You can see the makings of that late Saturday with that front developing back toward the west, and that could again separate warmer air and colder air, but also the chance for some storms. Speaking of storms, let's look in closer at some of these high-resolution models going into parts of Georgia, the Carolinas, through the overnight hours here. This would be 4, 5, 6 o'clock. You got the chance for some downpours. And then around midnight, that's when some rumbles of thunder will try to move in from Tennessee. Any of these could present the chance for some strong gusty winds or maybe even some lightning. So don't be surprised if you hear the sound of some thunder tonight. And when I look at the lightning flash rate, we got a couple of these that could present some lightning. You may see it flashing off in the distance tonight around 10, 11 o'clock in portions of western North Carolina, East Tennessee, and into the upstate of South Carolina. And when I look at the severe weather index, there's not a lot of juice to work with, especially because as this moves east, the sun is going down. Therefore, you kind of lose a little bit of your energy from that heat. But nonetheless, there's still plenty of that left over in East Tennessee. Doesn't quite translate east of the mountain, so that's why the threat is lower as you go off toward the east. But there's some juice on the Tennessee side of things. Let's talk about next week, because as we move through the next couple of days, sure, there's a chance for half an inch, a quarter of an inch of rain along this boundary that kind of stays active. But going into early next week, we've got the chance for not just some annoying type rain, but possibly some soaking widespread rain. This would move in Monday into Tuesday. Tuesday looks to be the wettest right now, possibly even into Wednesday. These numbers here in the reds are 3+ inches of rain in the upstate of South Carolina, closer to 4 inches in western North Carolina. That in and of itself wouldn't cause flooding, but if we get it to come down too fast, more than an inch per hour, more than 4 inches in one day, that threshold doesn't look to be met, but the 1 inch per hour may be challenged at times. That could lead to some flooding in western North Carolina or the upstate or East Tennessee that we haven't had, honestly, since Helene. And it's not a major concern, but it's something I want you to keep in mind, that creeks and streams could get high. Nothing like with Helene. Okay, just want to go ahead and say that. But when we haven't had flooding since Helene, we've got banks that are, redone because of Helene. Basically, they've kind of patched up the banks. There's some temporary bridges that are in place that cars are driving over, walking bridges. I want you just to be aware that if water gets high and starts to challenge some of those banks that really haven't had much rain, well, they had some. We've certainly had some rain, but this is the most rain we've had since Helene. It could challenge some of those. So what's the timing of it all? Let's look at the brand new European model that just finished crunching here. Again, this boundary staying active through Sunday, warmer air in place across the entire southeast. And we'll talk about snow chances here in just a minute. But here we go into Sunday. This front's finally trying to cross through the area, and one finally does, and that brings in cooler air for Monday into Tuesday. But what happens here is Monday, Tuesday, we've got more juice to work with, more ample moisture starting to move in. That could lead to some icing here across the high elevations of North Carolina, Beach Mountain, Boone, Sugar Mountain, up through parts of Virginia, where there could be some icing going on Monday into Tuesday. If that wasn't enough, here comes some more heavy rainfall. This would be Tuesday into Wednesday. Notice these kinks. You got a kink right there in the isobar, a kink right here. This would tell me colder air is kind of locked in here, entrenched here across the lee side of the mountains. So it'll likely be a cool rain for us on Tuesday, upper 40s, lower 50s. But that rain starts to surge in and will be heavy at times through Wednesday. But it doesn't look like it stops there. Wednesday night into Thursday, got another low pressure system developing back here. That would send in additional rain chances Thursday into Friday for another front will cross through the area and likely leave us with some form of rain trying to linger into next weekend even. As this active February looks to stay with us here, where we're looking to be wet and we're looking to be back closer to normal temperature-wise next week. Not even cooler than normal. We're certainly cooler than we are this week, but we're actually closer to where we should be. And really, there are no signs here over the next week to 10 days, even this model goes out to almost 14 days, that would indicate we have significant cold air that would come our way that would give us a chance for snow. In fact, temperatures right now, as it sits, are 20 to 30 degrees above normal. That would stay with us Friday, Saturday, but notice the colder air, or at least normal air, this blue and white would be near normal temperatures, are trying to come in here. Saturday, we're 10, 15 degrees above normal, and here comes Sunday. That front's finally coming through. Sunday could be 25 degrees above normal, closer to 80 in many locations of the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, Florida. But here comes that front, finally crosses through the entire area, and by Monday, most of us across Atlanta, the I-85 corridor, up through Greenville, Spartanburg, Charlotte, are within 1 or 2 degrees of normal. That would be highs back to the 50s, lows back to the 30s. So we're normal again for a while, and that doesn't look to last. In fact, we stay a little cooler with some rain on Tuesday into Wednesday, but look at this heat building back toward the south. This looks to be something that's going to be quite common. But anytime you have 20-degree temperatures above normal with colder than normal temperatures behind it, that boundary oftentimes gets lit up with storms. And unfortunately, it looks like storms or isolated pockets of severe weather would be likely into multiple occurrences. One today, one again on Sunday as that front moves through, and then as it would stand now, possibly next Tuesday and Wednesday could present severe weather threats across portions of the South. Where, that's still too early to determine, but we have to watch for these boundaries to separate colder and warmer air. And going into next week, we're still sitting as an average or as a whole well above normal. So February just kind of staying warm till we get some colder air, which right now looks like the 16th, 17th, 18th. Looks like colder air does try to start working in. You got minus 30. That's below where we should be. That's anomalies. So how far below normal? 20 degrees below normal here Monday the 17th. So we're talking 15 degrees below normal. That'd be 40s, 40, 45 degrees. So it would be cold for a couple of days here into the middle of the month. That'd be after Super Bowl weekend into the 19th, 18th, even past that weekend as we look to at least cool down to below normal temperatures for maybe 3 days. It does not look to be a prolonged cool down, but it does look like we at least get colder for a little while, 16th through the 19th, and then we're right back to near normal or above normal temperatures going into the 20th of February. So that's kind of the way things are shaping up right now. When I look at snow chances, is there a chance for snow in any of this? Well, the models say only for the Midwest up through the north. Very sharp contrast here of 100% chance of an inch or more of snow in the next 10 days. You go into the mountains of North Carolina, there's that chance, maybe 60% chance for Sugar, Boone. Ski country could get a little bit more snow action, but that chance goes down to 10% or less as you get closer to Asheville. How about those temperatures? Well, as a whole, as we round out February, like I mentioned, there will likely be a 3-day stint of very cold air. Lows in the 20s, highs in the 40s. That looks to be around the 16th. So, 10 days from now. But beyond that, as an average, the new outlook here, which gets us the 15th through the 28th of February. So basically the last half of February, here's the new outlook, would show above normal temperatures for the South with equal chances of normal temperatures up through the Midwest. So looks like we're going to continue with this above normal stretch here, which if you get above normal temperatures in February, the atmosphere is going to try to correct itself. It's a system, right? It's always trying to balance itself back out. And if we get those warmer than normal temperatures, that's going to lead to a stormy pattern across the South, which could repeat itself multiple times. That would lead to probably not widespread severe weather outbreaks, but probably pockets of, hey, a tornado here, a tornado there, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas. Does that translate to the Carolinas and Georgia? It doesn't look to be right now, but it's something we would have to keep a close eye on as we have warm air around. And it's February, so cold air is going to try to work its way back in and be a normal part of the equation here. So I will keep you posted, folks. And again, if you're new to the channel and you appreciate this style of forecasting, please like this video. And again, let me know where you're watching from in the comments section. Subscribe to the channel and then turn on those notifications. It's the best way to stay informed when it comes to severe weather or all things weather for that matter. Hope you have a good day.